Hey, brain friends. All right, so in this episode, I am going to be answering four key questions. Four questions I had myself that I see all over the internet where people are asking things like, is aphasia the same as a brain injury? Number two, is take your time actually helpful, or are we getting it wrong? Number three, why do I know exactly what I want to say, but I can't get it out? Is this aphasia? And number four, what do I wish people understood about aphasia? Wow. So this is how we're starting off on this episode. This episode is also going to be a little different. This is my first true solo episode. It's just me on the mic, so bear with me. Talk to me nice. I'm also using the new editing software, so if you hear a glitch or something's just a little off, I heard it too. And I've decided, for the sake of everything, I'm rolling with progression over perfection. Okay, progression over perfection. That's been my motto. That will have to be how it's going down. That's what I got to do. So it's been really hard. My grieving of my partner, Dr. Dave Trina Celeste Gatson, is that water was just deeper than I thought. And showing up in this space has been harder than I thought. So some of it I have to press record and make it happen. So, if you want to support the show or just wear something cool, check out aphasiaadvocates.com. We got Brain Friends, the podcast gear. I got that 2 Neuro Nerds limited edition long sleeve tee. So go check out the store and support the show, please. This is season 3. We have listeners in over 90 countries, and we have 12,000 downloads in over 90 countries. So thank you for that. And we're going to keep this conversation moving because this podcast matters. This science matters. Lived experience and patient reported outcomes come through. Celeste, they still matter. And I hear my partner in my ear, girl, if you don't get on this mic and stop playing with me. So we're going to get into it. Yeah, welcome to Brain Friends. Let's get it.
Welcome to Brain Friends, where 2 neuro nerds talk all things aphasia, language recovery, culture, and community. I am Dr. Trina Celeste Gatson, a clinical speech-language pathologist and neuroscientist.
And I am Angie Cawthorn, stroke survivor and aphasia advocate.
Welcome to our show.
Welcome to Brain Friends.
We want to thank all of our listeners for downloading the podcast. We appreciate everyone listening. So please tell a friend to tell a friend that we are here.
And we are. Is aphasia the same as a brain injury? Okay. So I remember how confusing this was to me early on because mostly people kept using the words interchangeably. So it would be like somebody would say, well, you've had a brain injury. And then another doctor would say, well, you have aphasia. I remember thinking, well, which one is it? And why does it feel like neither explanation was really explaining what I was going through in real time? Here's the clean and plain truth. So the brain injury is the cause. Aphasia is one possible result. And that distinction matters. A brain injury, most commonly from stroke, can affect many systems like vision, sensation, attention, emotions, executive function, cognitive. Some people have brain injury and never develop aphasia at all. But if someone has aphasia, what it means is the affected brain is the part that handles language and the language networks. What made this more confusing for me is aphasia doesn't always look like what people expect from a brain injury or specifically a stroke. People expect paralysis, they expect slurred speech. I would look okay and I would be able to walk and talk fine, but I would struggle to speak, read, or follow in a conversation. And people would sometimes treat it like it was a communication quirk, something I could work around if I just tried hard enough. And at first, I thought so too. But aphasia is not a quirk. It's not shyness. It's not stress. It's brain damage that shows up through language. One thing I wish people understood is that aphasia doesn't stay neatly inside the category of language is woven into everything you can access. It affects decision making, problem solving, reading and writing, following directions, doing things in sequence, advocating for yourself. I also remember realizing and saying that brain injury, or I used to call it stroke brain, because it felt safer for people to hear that rather than saying aphasia, because brain injury sounds medical. It sounds serious. It's something that is tangible. Aphasia, on the other hand, sounds unfamiliar. People don't know what it is. So people tend to minimize it. They hear communication problem and think inconvenience. But aphasia is not an inconvenience. It's a neurological condition that changes how you move through the world. So when people ask me now, is aphasia the same as a brain injury? My answer is this. Aphasia is evidence of a brain injury. It is one way the brain damage shows itself. It deserves to be understood, studied with the same gravity as any other post-stroke condition. So when someone tells you, or you have to tell someone that they have aphasia, remember that you're telling them about a fundamental change in their brain that has happened. So when you're explaining it, explain it clearly and give the steps. Those steps would be, you've had a stroke. Because of the stroke, you have brain damage. That brain damage is called aphasia, and that's why you're having a problem speaking. Those 4 steps, I think, would make a huge difference, because a lot of times we hear the word aphasia and we don't know what to do with that word. First of all, I've never heard the word. All right, so the next question is take your time actually helpful, or are we getting it wrong? When I saw this question, first of all, I love the question. I was having a conversation with somebody, and for me, it would feel like the words would hit a wall. There would just be walls popping up, or different words that I didn't want would just be injecting themselves. Both things kind of would happen at different times depending upon the situation. But either way, someone would say, oh, take your time, take your time. I don't need time. I need a reroute. Like, I hit a wall, and you could always feel the room kind of shift. The soft eyes, the patient nod, the gentle tone, right? And, people would shift into that familiar posture and again, hit you with the take your time. But the thing is, you can stand at a broken bridge all day, right? It's not that I need time. I need a way to get around it. The problem is, take your time is a waiting strategy. And aphasia often requires a rerouting strategy. If the issue were speed, if the word was simply slow to arrive, then yeah, sure, taking your time would be the answer. But aphasia ain't just slow. It's more likely blocked. And what is happening in that moment was not a delay. Sometimes it's a traffic jam, and sometimes you can get through. But more than not, that bridge is out. But in the meantime, in this conversation, I just need to reroute. So that's why take your time can feel like a mismatch. It's kind and I appreciate it, but it's often incomplete and leaving me feeling like there's a spotlight on me because it's a sneaky pressure that kind of comes in with that because now everybody's waiting on me to try to communicate whatever this blockage is that I didn't know I was going to run into. Because the most nefarious, the hard thing about aphasia is the words being there and then all of a sudden being ripped from you. Those words are there, what you want to say, and you think you can say them until you get to word 5, right? At least that was what it was for me. Also, when you say, take your time, it makes me aware that everybody is now watching me trying to find a word. And that social pressure makes the brain's job harder. So I appreciate it. I get what you're saying, and it's not always wrong, but it's often just not enough. Now, there are times where take your time can be helpful. When a person really wants quiet, like a quiet space, that's when it's helpful. When they're close to a word and they feel like, just give me a minute, they'll tell you. There is a time where a person can tell me, I can say, take your time. I'm taking my time. Sounds can be supportive. But here's when take your time is usually not helpful, is when a person is stuck behind that brick wall. When the word isn't coming, no matter how long you wait, and the person starts spiraling into frustration when the conversation is moving fast and they're being left behind. In those moments, waiting isn't support. It's just waiting. So what do we do instead? Instead of offering time, perhaps offer tools. There are some better options, simple, practical, and respectful. Ask the person, do they want help? This is something that I've always been really, really good at or receptive to. Okay? I don't need more time. I need a life preserver, right? My fellow Aphasians have told me in many a time they would rather you wait and let them ask you for help if they need it. But they would rather kind of wait it out in some cases. 2 options, not 5 options, 2 options. Is it a place? Yes or no is powerful because it reduces demand and guides access. Invite a description. Tell me what it does. Can you describe it? This keeps the meaning moving even if the label is stuck. Like, it allows the person to, you're engaging with me rather than waiting on me to produce this one thing that I do not have access to. But you're giving me ways to work around it to get to that one thing. Also, what worked for me was offer me a reset. Start over, I'm with you. Just take your time. And that's when take your time is okay. It gives permission to reroute without embarrassment. Ask what kind of help the person wants. This is the most respectful of all. Do you want me to wait or do you want help? that question changes everything because it stops support from being accidental. It turns support into partnership, and partnership is what people with aphasia deserve and want. I also want to say this plainly. Finishing someone's sentence is not automatically rude. It's only rude if it's not agreed upon. Like I said, I love it, but there are others that are not fond of it. But consent, the key is consent. You don't guess, you ask. If you're supporting someone with aphasia, the best thing you can do is create a shared system. A signal for help me, a signal for I ain't talking no more. So if you're a person with aphasia listening, it's okay to coach your people on what's going to work for you in this particular season that you're in. And aphasia is a moving target. You're getting better every day. You're getting access to words every day, even when it feels like you're not. I promise you, you are. It's okay to say, don't tell me to take my time. Help me reroute. Help me reroute this thing. Tell them, ask me yes or no questions, or whatever it is that's going to work for you. But that's self-advocacy. So are we getting it wrong? Sometimes. But that's not intentional. But because it's not intentional doesn't make it good. You just didn't mean to do it. Access is the difference between being present in the conversation and being left standing at the wall. Access is key, guys. Time is kind, but strategy is access. Why do I know exactly what I want to say, but can't get it out? Is this aphasia? I remember one time I had a story in my head, clear as day. I was talking to Tay, and she had asked me a question. We were in the house chatting it up, and I had spoken at a conference, Aphasia Access, and she told me to tell her about what had happened. So I went to go tell her, and prior to that, we were talking the way I'm talking to you right now. And all of a sudden, when I opened my mouth, it was like I hit a brick wall. The more I pushed, the more it disappeared. That experience is one of the most misunderstood parts of aphasia, the inconsistency of it. But to answer the question, yes, that can be aphasia, especially if it happened after a stroke, a brain injury, or a neurological event. But even without a known event, it's something that you should take seriously and get evaluated. But here's what's happening in plain language, the best I can explain it. Again, I am not the smart one. So you can have an idea fully formed, but the brain has trouble with one of the steps that turns that idea into spoken word. As I understand it, communication is not one step. It's like a chain. It's like the idea, the words, the motor plan, the sounds, and then the speech output. Aphasia disrupts steps 2 and 3, finding the words and assembling them. And another related issue that I also suffered with was apraxia of speech, which can disrupt like step 4, which is the planning of mouth movements. So like I would go to say the word compass and my jaws would not do what I needed it to do. I found out different from the gymnastics that was going on in my head to say words at a different time. So I would say I don't suffer with apraxia in the same way I still suffer with aphasia at this point. All right. So anyway, if you're reaching for what aphasia can look like, if you're not sure of what you're feeling or what you're going through, if you're reaching for a word and it won't come, that's the word finding. If you substitute knife for fork, if you know the first sound of a word but can't finish it, like you see it, you know how to use it. But, you can say it later on a different context, but not on demand. That's a big one. And it gets worse when you're tired, stressed, or rushed. So the last point matters. Aphasia symptoms often fluctuate. People assume inconsistency means you're fine or not trying. No, your brain is doing triage. When the system is overloaded, language becomes the first thing to go. I don't make the rules, guys. I just know what they are. So, the thought didn't disappear. That's the part that people don't really truly get. The story, your story is still there, still running intact and waiting. But the path in my brain and my mouth are blocked, jammed, construction. It's inaccessible. And people did what people do when they care. They lean in, they smile, they say, it's okay, take your time. I've already discussed that, so we're not going to beat that horse. But, again, time is not what we needed. We could sit there for 10 minutes and still been staring at the same wall. And that's when I understood something that it took years to put in words. Aphasia isn't about knowing, it's about access. I knew what I wanted to say, I just couldn't reach the way I used to. The best way I can explain it is in my wardrobe analogy. I'm calling dibs on it. It's mine. I made it up. It's the whole thing. I wrote it down when I first had my stroke. Okay, so here we go. All right, y'all ready? You ready? Here we go. It's like standing in front of your wardrobe where all your clothes still exist. Every outfit, but all the drawers are jammed. Some won't open at all. Some open halfway and get stuck and require way more effort than it should. You don't suddenly own fewer clothes. You're just fighting the furniture. And that's what aphasia feels like. When people say, take your time, they're really assuming is that if you wait long enough, the drawers will magically slide open. And that the word is late. It's on its way. Just around the corner. Just give it some time. But aphasia doesn't work like that. Sometimes the drawer is stuck, whether you wait or not. And I always remember realizing that the block wasn't always the word itself. Sometimes it was decision around the word, the this or that, the nuance of holding an idea in my head while deciding what to do or how to frame the next one. Those cognitive nuances are the things that used to feel automatic started to feel real foreign. It's like my verbal GPS stopped working. I'd have a sentence, I knew where I wanted to end up, and suddenly I had to route recalculating and recalculating again. And then, no reroute is offered. No alternate plan suggested. And that's when I stopped trying to push through, because pushing just made it worse. What helped was changing the goal. I had to stop aiming for a perfect word. I had to start aiming for being understood. I remember one time Celeste asked me, she says, when you're talking, because I was talking pretty choppy, and she was like, is that a successful completion to you? Just getting your point across, or do you want it to be perfect? And I'm like, perfect? Nah, that's not even, if I was aiming for perfect, I'd be in the corner crying my eyes out, because that's not going to happen. Aiming to be understood was the goal that really did help. If the word wouldn't come, I described it. I was very good at making analogies. And if the sentence structure collapsed, I changed the structure. If the whole story jammed, I backed out and I started from a different angle. And sometimes, and this is important, I let other people help me navigate. I learned to say, hold on, let me say it another way. And that was me directing the support. And kind of like I just said in that other answer, when someone has aphasia, get stuck mid-sentence, they're not lost, they're not confused, they're not unintelligent. They're standing in front of a locked door holding a key, trying to figure out which lock is the lock. So when you see someone pause, when you hear the sentence break, when the words come out all sideways, don't assume the thought is gone. I assure you the It's probably really right there. But the point is, if you think you have aphasia, right, and you have bad word finding and you don't know why, you need to get that checked out. That's what you need to take with you. All right. On to the next one. See, this is what happens when Celeste isn't here. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, again, the inappropriateness will be on the podcast. I don't know what to tell you guys. All right, so here we go. Okay, so what I wish people understood about aphasia. Aphasia isn't just about talking. It touches speaking, understanding, reading, writing, math. My math has not been mathed for years. I used to read all the time. I cannot take down a decent paragraph or two. I get through the first paragraph maybe, or half a paragraph, but first couple of sentences, and then it becomes mush. I see the words, I read the words, I can't connect them to the next word. I don't have what's required to make it glue. That's how it feels to have aphasia. Or one of the things I wish people knew about it. It touches all of those things of the cognitive side, plus the energy it takes to do all of that. Some days you've got more access, some days you've got less. And that fluctuation is real. It's not inconsistency. It is capacity. Also, automatic speech task is real. Dr. Celeste taught me what an automatic speech task was. Counting to 10, saying the alphabet, which is why they ask you to say the alphabet in speech therapy to see how these automatic, or the days of the week. I lost ability to do those type of things. I remember being in therapy. Why are you asking me to say the alphabet? I felt like she was just not being a nice lady. And then turns to find out I couldn't get past the letter D. It's a very humbling situation. But anyway, automatic speech task is real. 1 minute I might be able to say, hey, how you doing? Or I'm fine. Or a familiar line like Angie's awesome. Or rattle off a phrase I've said 1,000 times. But the automatic speech, the brain can sometimes grab those well worn out roots. But when you ask me a fresh question, like tell me what happened at the appointment, suddenly it looks like I shut down. I didn't shut down. So please don't use automatic speech as proof that a person is fine. It's proof that my brain has some paths that still work and other paths that are under construction. Never mind is not attitude, it's triage. Another thing, when a person starts a sentence and they stop and they keep and they're trying and then they just say, never mind. Let them say never mind. And here's why. That's not them being difficult. That's a person hitting too many brick walls at once. It would be better to say, that's okay, we'll come back later. That's more helpful than say it now. I know you can say it. You said it earlier. That's not helping. You want to pause and come back. Do you want some choices? But realize that when a person stops, it's you pushing. It's not helping because, again, we don't need time. We need a reroute. Or we might need time of just not talking about that no more. I might be at my capacity for what I can do. To my caregivers, love isn't enough. Timing matters. So like I was saying, I talk to a lot of well-meaning caregivers and they start answering for the survivors or keep pushing the survivor to answer past their capacity. And I get that the caregiver's tired. They want their person to do well. They're trying to help. They hate watching their folks struggle. But here's the flat truth. Like I said, pushing past capacity can just make it worse. It can increase stress, increase the shutdown, and leave the survivor feeling small. Aphasia doesn't need a drill sergeant. Aphasia needs a partner. The goal is not to get it out at all costs. The goal is to communicate and to be understood. That's the goal. And the goal is also to protect communication. And sometimes that includes knowing when to stop. Sometimes just to take a break, come back later. Because the brain has a limit. And when you hit it, everything gets harder. Aphasia can bring depression along for the ride. It's a squatter. We'll be honest about the emotional part. Aphasia can be exhausting and isolating. Stroke and aphasia, TBI, AVM. These things will take things from you you did not even realize were up for grabs. And that grief is real. That depression can be part of that journey. Not because somebody's weak or they're losing access to words and it can feel like losing access to your life, but because everything has changed in an instant and you went from capable to incapable in the blink of an eye. So what I wish people understood is this. If someone is with aphasia is quiet, it might not be that they don't want to talk. It might be they're protecting themselves from failing out loud again. All right, so the bottom line is aphasia is not laziness. It's not stubbornness. It's not if you can say one thing, you can say everything. You said that yesterday. I mean, now you act like you can't talk. It's a neurological communication disorder that requires patience without pressure, support without taking over, and respect without assumptions. If you want to help, don't make the person perform. What I mean by that is make environments safer, make options wider, and again, when they say never mind, don't take it personal. Sometimes the most supportive thing you can say is, we can try later. All right? That's what I got for you on the 4 questions that I decided to answer in this episode. Hope you guys learned something. Hope I was helpful doing all the things. All right, brain friends, that's where we're going to leave it today. If any of these questions hit home, good. That means you're paying attention. Aphasia isn't just clinical definitions or checking a box on a chart. It's lived, it's layered, and it's showing up differently depending upon the day, the fatigue, and the environment. My goal with this episode wasn't to oversimplify, but it was to make it clearer. So if you're a survivor listening, I see you. If you're a caregiver, thank you for trying to understand rather than rushing the process. And if you're a clinician or a researcher, first of all, you should be sharing this with people, okay? If you're a researcher or a clinician, like, what are we doing? Okay, I hope this adds context to your work and to the work that you're already doing, and that you are obviously sharing this with your clients and your students. Hello, look it up. What are we doing here, people? Season 3 looks a little different for me, but the mission has not changed. We're still about real conversations, real science, and real respect for lived experience. I'm glad you're here, and I appreciate you rocking with me as I keep moving forward. As always, take what you need, leave what you don't, and come back when you're ready. This is Brain Friends, the podcast. I'll catch you next time. Peace, y'all.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Brain Friends. Please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite streaming platform. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Brain Friends, the podcast.